But yeah, Mom, I got this big old plant right here, and I need you to come over and help me cut it up.
Get somebody else to do it.
No, I'm gonna cut it myself, but I just need you to tell me where to cut it at. Hello? Mom? Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we got some good sunlight, and I have a few plant chores to take care of. One of them being this Philodendron Splendid right here. My whole plan for this one is I need to take a top cut and start that top cut all over again. I want to place that top cut in the bottom media and have this plant grow right back up this moss pole. What will happen is, starting it all over again, these big leaves here will grow even bigger as it climbs right back up that pole. So this will be the first time that I'm propagating a plant with this type of moss pole. And I thought I'd be able to show you guys, if you have any of these type of moss poles, how that goes when you do some type of a chop and extend. I also have a few other plant chores to take care of today as well. So stick around with me and welcome to Aroid District. So let's get to it. I know some of you may be thinking, well, Dave just cut the plant. Well, it is not that simple, because I put it on a moss pole like this. The whole point of me putting it on one of these type of moss poles is so that each node can root into the moss pole. And that is exactly what happened. If I turn this around, you see there's a lot of roots up here, down here. I'm not sure if you can see that. There's roots like just trailing all the way down here. And my whole point is, in order for this plant to keep up with this leaf size after I cut it, I need to make a cut that has a lot of roots at that node that I cut it at. This leaf is emerging. After this leaf emerges, I need the next leaf to be even bigger. That will not happen unless I cut it at a node, or at least a couple nodes that have, a lot of roots on them. So I'm thinking that I'm not gonna make the top cut right here at the top, because it does have some roots. But if these two leaves are just depending on this one node, I feel like the plant is gonna focus on making new roots instead of the next leaf being bigger. That's the situation that we're dealing with. So you know what? I think my top cut is gonna be right here. And before I even open this pole and unpot the plant, I'm gonna make all my cuts. That's how I just decided right now to do this. So here we go. Let's make the top cut here. Woo! Mind you, these are scissors that I just cleaned with some soap and water a little bit. Yeah, so I cut that. And I think we're good after this. I can just make cuts along the stem now. So I'll just, let's see, get a little bit longer. Make another cut right there. Another cut right there. Another cut. Yeah, and I'll leave it alone after that, because I don't really like the way these just flopped over like that. So now that I made these cuts, I want to unpot the plant. So I have this little tub here, and let's go for it. Mind you, I want to say that when you have a moss pole like this, make sure that your potting mix is chunky, because what often happens is the roots get so developed in here that the roots in this pot may rot. Just because it's already established up here, it may give up on the roots down here. Sounds crazy, but it actually really does happen. Let's see here. Well, these roots have not rotted. Looks pretty good actually, so. It's a little bit crazy that I'm doing this in the winter time, but I'm just taking advantage of the active growth that this plant is having. So even though it is winter time, this plant is growing very quickly. So I got the wicking string out of there, and you know, I broke some roots. I'm not going to be concerned with, you know, keeping these roots intact, because my main concern is this top cut right here. Let me see if I can pop this moss pole open without breaking any of the plant. Ooh, we got it open. Now, how can I get my cuts? All right, let me be gentle. So you have these little squares on this moss pole. I'm actually trying to get the roots to go through it, you know? And I have seen other videos where they will cut the actual pole and then start that over. I'm not doing this. I want to preserve these moss poles, these little plastic sheet moss poles, just the way they are. I feel like I can manage to get the roots out and, you know, get my top cut. Ooh. So here's the top cut here. I was a little bit disappointed because I thought I'd have some longer roots, but if you can see, we got one set of roots here at this node and another set right here. I'm not sure if it'll be enough to keep this plant growing big, but I'll tell you what I'll do to help out, you know, to help this plant to conserve energy is just do this. Where's my scissors? Clean that up a bit. And you know, my whole plan is we have this one leaf and we have this leaf emerging. I'm not sure how, I think this one will be okay. And I took this leaf off here because what I'll do is I'll try to plant this plant deep down to where, you know, the soil can come up here. I mean, hey, that's the best I can do. Let's see how far it'll. Yeah, that'd actually be perfect because this leaf will be, you know, sitting right at the base, and we have roots at the bottom, and we have a little bit of roots up here also. And what happens is these aerial roots will probably quickly go into the moss pole again. So I think that's, you know, that's what I'm gonna do. That's the best decision right there. And I'll show you all the other cuts because we got splendids for everybody. Check this out. This is a mid cut. Look at all the roots that this one has. Another mid cut. Another one. Then we have a couple more here that have like a crazy amount of roots. Uh-oh, tangled up. Look at that one. All of these have a growing eye right here. So I think quickly this plant will start pushing out a new leaf from here. All right, so we did that. Here is the finished top cut. I put a chunky soil mix and filled this pole back up. And here it is. The roots are you know, they're a little bit exposed, but I'm pretty sure they'll either go into this moss pole or back down into the pot. And the aerial roots right here, I'm pretty sure will go into the pole. And I think we good. And then it has, you know, it doesn't even have much more space, but it has, you know, some space to grow a few more leaves. And on the next one, what I might do is just extend this pole, because if this is the bottom leaf and it's this big, who knows how big the leaves will be by the time it gets up here. So I'll just extend that pole and then have a giant plant. You know, some of these plants got to be giant, being that this one grows so well. You know, I'll have it be this one. It was definitely fun, but I would say that the only annoying part was pulling the roots through these little squares. So once I made the cut, I kind of had to pull the roots through the squares. And the second part of what was annoying about this little chore was this. Hold on. Now I have all of these. It's good that I have, you know, more propagations, but I really didn't think this through. Like, I gotta pot all these up now, you know. It's, you know, look at these roots. I can't just sit them in water. I have to, you know, find some plastic cups or something to pot all of these up on. And I didn't think about that part. I'm not in the mood to pot up this many cuttings. It's actually a lot of them. Well, it's 5, you know. But let's move on to the next chore. I'm gonna go ahead and so I'm gonna just leave these to the side and move on to the next project. Next order of operation, I want to take this Monstera Lechleriana and put it on a moss pole, because I'll enter a picture of what this plant looks like when it's mature. And I think that is great. I feel like this plant is just a really good deal that I don't see people taking advantage of. So let me explain to you. You got Monstera albo, and then you have the variegated Monstera adansonii. Those are expensive plants, you know. I'll tell you now, I'm not a big fan of the Monstera deliciosa albo or the Monstera borsigiana albo. I'm not a big fan of those. I kind of got burnt out on them just because I know here in Los Angeles on the Facebook group, everybody was just going crazy for them, selling nodes, selling pieces, selling fragments of that plant. And it was just the whole hype of it kind of turned me off. And then, you know, when I see the plant, it just, I don't know, I just got burnt out, you know. And the variegated adansonii, I just don't like it that much to spend even the current price on it, you know. So I found this one, which is kind of like a combination of both of them, because this Monstera Lechleriana, it's variegated. It's a variegated Monstera. It gets big leaves like the Monstera deliciosa, but it also gets those holes like the adansonii, you know, but the holes aren't as big. So it gets like a big leaf, and you'll see, like, you know, little medium-sized holes on, you know, each side of the leaf. That's well enough to me. I feel like there's enough leaf to show off the variegation in comparison to the adansonii, where you got these big holes and you see these little variegation around whatever leaf is there. Somebody knows what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to explain it no more because I'm not that great with my words. But anyhow, this Monstera Lechleriana is a great option. So for this Monstera Lechleriana, I'm going to put it on one of these sheet moss poles that I have. I have a big box of them, and these will be on my Etsy shop. I'm not sure how I'm going to price them. One thing that I'm waiting for is to get, you know, boxes that can properly fit these in there so that I will be able to ship them out. But I do have some of the clear sheet moss poles that I got off of Amazon. I like the way those look better than these, but these actually hold in humidity a lot better than those clear moss poles. These are thick, and they kind of, when you put them together, they are more cohesive. There's not a lot of holes in there, so you'll notice that the back of this moss pole holds in a lot of moisture so that you don't have to water it as often. So I do have black ones. I do have translucent color. This is not clear. It's like a see-through white, if you will, But I'm gonna use this for the Monstera, and these will be on my Etsy shop soon as I get the proper box to ship them in. Certain philodendrons that I sell will come with this sheet moss pole for free. All right, first things first, I pop or dumps out all the nectar. Oh, yeah, it's gonna be a cleanup later on. These is the roots. I think it was sitting down in the water reservoir. We got a little bit of rot at the tip of it, but I'm not concerned. My main focus is to get this on the pole. Once it starts to root into the pole, these roots at the bottom won't be as important. So I'm glad I actually decided to do this now before any of this rot at the bottom continues on. Just because I see that rot, what I'm gonna do is soak this leca in some hot water and peroxide. So I'll do like a half and half water and peroxide and just soak this, just because I don't know if any of the pathogens are inside of this this semi-hydro mix that I made. All right, so we have this leca and perlite soaking in water and peroxide. Hopefully I do not spill this on my rug, or else I'll probably have spots. But yeah, so that's the way I sterilize, semi-hydro really quickly. Okay, so I normally does this outside, but it'll be a little bit too loud, and it's actually quite cold out there. So I just got this little plastic underneath the moss pole. I lay this flat, and then I'm gonna fill it in with moss and bark that is already dampened. As you can see, there is some water at the bottom of here, but I fill it in with the moss already dampened, because if I try to put it in dry, trying to, wet that after I set it up, it'll just be too much of a hassle. So I'd rather just wring it out and put it in. And the reason why the plastic is underneath, because like I said, this is moist. I don't want any drippings going. Well, I guess it really wouldn't matter. I don't know. I just decided to put that damn plastic there.
Baby, let's make this known. Baby, let's make this official. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they do. They don't understand what we do. Baby, let's make this known. Baby, let's make this official. I don't care.
So while I fill in this last bit, I need y'all to talk to me. So what's been going on? Like, what has everybody been watching on TV? Like, as far as like any Netflix series or any TV shows? I don't have cable. I do have like, Amazon Prime, Netflix, a couple of little apps, and I haven't been watching anything. I think the last thing I did watch was that Addams Family Wednesday or something like that. I stumbled up on that, and it was actually, to my surprise, really good. I really don't like those kind of high school shows like that, but it was really good. Y'all let me know if there's anything that y'all are watching right now, so I can get my Netflix on, this weekend. Oh, this one is going into the last slot. Lift it up a little bit and get it hooked in there. Yeah, you can't be a punk when it comes to trying to put this in, because this type of PVC that they use for this, these translucent moss poles, they're pretty rigid, so you got to get in there, and that's actually what helps the back of this one be a lot more moist than the clear one, because the clear one has a lot of holes throughout that back because of the slits and all of that. This one, it holds in a lot of moisture, even though it doesn't look as good as the clear color, in my opinion. Okay, I heard that lock, it locked in. So here we go. So I'm gonna set this down into semi-hydro actually. All right, so I think these work out really good. I'm gonna do semi-hydro, no drainless. I do like my little plastic food cups. They just do wonders for me. And boom, just sit this pole in here. And it actually already stands up. That's pretty good. And then I'll put some leca in. I washed that peroxide off of there and drained it out in this strainer. And I'll just start filling in. All right, now I'll go ahead and put this in. So before I continue to fill this up, I'm going to actually tie it to the pole. So I have the Velcro strip, and maybe you can see this aerial root. I kind of want to put that inside of the moss pole so that it can, go ahead and do its thing. So just place that up against the moss pole and tie it up. So now that is secure, I can just focus on filling this up with the leca. Okay, so project number 2, all set. We have this one in the leca. I'll go ahead and fill this up halfway. So the last thing we have to do for today is repot this Syngonium Green Spot. So I really like this Syngonium Green Spot. I bought it in moss in this pot. So I don't really know what the roots are looking like. I don't see any roots at the bottom. So we're gonna check this out, see if we can propagate it. If we're not gonna propagate it, then I wanna transfer it to leca or just plain old water. I told you all in my plant tour video that I will be growing a lot of plants in just water. And that's kind of like a tribute to my mom, because growing up, as a kid, I used to see all these plants just sitting in a nice decorative glass of water, and they would just grow all up the ceiling. So just trying to mimic that, I wanted this plant stand right here to have a lot of plants just growing in nothing but water. But of course I got to make a project out of it, for the simple fact that I want to be able to let you know which plants actually do well growing like that. So that is why I have a crawling philodendron, Syngonium, I have a patriciae, so different plants. I want to know like which ones do well growing in nothing but water. It's more of a project than like a setup, I would say, but whatever works will be the setup. So let's get to this Syngonium.
And this is for my ghetto girls. To all my ladies, hold it down. I got a good girl.
I'm actually probably gonna have to do a good job of removing the moss from the roots, because I want to put it in leca. So I'm gonna go vigorous because I find, in my experience, Syngoniums can handle anything besides low light in my experience. But just being vigorous with the roots and all of that, this plant ain't gonna really miss a beat. Okay, so I was actually able to get 2 cuts off of this. So we have this little top cut here. It has like a little root right there. Let's see. I have this cut as well as the original. So I'm gonna use this glass here, fill it in with some charcoal, and then the rest of this leca from my Monstera. So I mentioned growing plants in water. Sometimes I'll have a little bit of gravel or charcoal or something at the bottom just to help stabilize the plant inside of, I just want to help stabilize the plant inside of whatever glass vessel I use, So that's kind of what putting some type of rocks in there. Water is the media, but I just like to use some type of marbles or whatever I'm gonna use in the future just to stabilize it. Okay, so here's everything that we did for today. I got my nice top cut for my Philodendron Splendid. I got my Monstera Lechleriana on a nice moss pole. And I've actually made a couple propagations and put this Syngonium Green Spot in water. Well, it has some media in there, but primarily just water. So I got a new plant friend on the block. I just discovered his channel not too long ago, and we've been friends on Instagram for a while. Mr. Michael from The Planted Eye. Yo, y'all need to go check out his YouTube channel. His collection is so fire. He has some pretty good unboxings, and I'm just excited to see what's to come of Michael, and I definitely got to get a collab with him pretty soon. So you all please go check out The Planted Eye on YouTube. And I thank you all for joining me on, a little plant chore day. Still a little bit of sunlight left, so I'm gonna go ahead and get out in the streets and, enjoy my day. So until next time, I see you all. Out.